Hey guys, my name is Thomas Bresch. I'm the creator of a game called Pinstripe. I'm also working on a game called Once Upon a Coma, and I've been making games for about 10 years. In these 10 years, I've learned a ton of indie game marketing hacks. And the way I first started out marketing my games was to not market them at all, because I was a purist and I thought a good game is going to sell itself. And that's just not true. Really, these are kind of hacks that I've been using over and over for my work. This isn't me bragging at all. Hopefully give you a little bit of credibility. I've been featured by Time Magazine. I've been front paged on Reddit I think maybe 4 times. I've had 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns, both of which raised about $100,000. Ultimately, my work has been able to support my family and my studio. And I've been able to push and sell enough copies. So here are 5 indie game marketing hacks that you can use for your game. Before I tell you these 5 indie game marketing hacks, here's the thing about marketing. It requires a gazillion skill sets, from graphic design to email marketing to just knowing how to write. You really need to learn a ton of things before you can be effective at these 5 hacks. So head on over to Skillshare and see if you can learn something from their courses. You probably will. So if you want to take these 5 marketing hacks that I'm going to tell you, and you want to make them better, and you want to actually learn how to do the nitty-gritty details of them, click the link below and get 2 free months of Skillshare. Great, fun courses, and it's a great way to become a game developer, and an effective one. All right, the first one is gonna sound obvious, but I promise you it's probably the most important thing that you can do, and it's going to be the most miserable thing that you can do in the process of creating your game. And this should happen about 2 to 3 months before you launch your game. You really need to be putting together a press list of about 200 personal email addresses. Not necessarily personal, but they need to be personalized email addresses. Whether it's a company or a Gmail account for a freelance writer, you need to have these personal email addresses, like their name and then the company, or their name at gmail.com. Now you're going to be tempted to just go get a press list online. You can find plenty. Just type in indie game press list. You're going to see this massive press list and you're going to think, wow, my work is done. I can just send emails to these addresses. Don't be fooled by this beautiful, wonderful needle in a haystack you think you found. See, the thing is most indie game developers are using the same press list. So what do you think is going to happen to that email account when they get thousands of emails from people who want them to play their indie game? They're going to delete that email address and they're going to use a new one. So it's your job to find the current email addresses that nobody else knows about. Putting together this press list of about 200 email addresses, it takes a ton of time. If you have an intern or you have a partner and someone who can help you, hopefully you can minimize that time. But I know for me, I did it all alone. It took me about 2 to 3 weeks of just full-time work just putting together a targeted email list. Now be careful. You don't want just any email address, okay? You want to find writers who actually like your work. Now it's hard to know if someone's going to actually like your work, right? But you could know if a writer liked a game that is similar to yours. So what I like to do is I like to go on Metacritic and find games that are similar to mine and look at all of the reviews that were written about that specific game. I find the reviews that are honestly good, maybe 75 to 100 in terms of score, and then I find that writer and then I email that specific writer. Now, finding their email address is going to be tough because sometimes they don't really have it anywhere. A lot of times it's just in their Twitter bio, but if you can't find their email address, feel free to tweet them or send them a private message if that's possible on Twitter. Obviously, there's plenty of tools and websites out there to find email addresses, so feel free to use those. But the best thing that I've found in finding an email address is most of these writers have personal websites. Feel free to find that personal website and look for their email address on that site. Guys, once you get 200 personalized email addresses, don't be surprised if you only get 10 responses. Believe it or not, 10 is amazing. If you could get 10 people to write a review about your game, you're golden. The second hack you need to use is post to Reddit. Now, Reddit is a swath and a bath and a confusing universe of weird rules per category and per subreddit. And a lot of people are mean and a lot of people are nice, and you never really know what's gonna happen, right? So don't be discouraged if you post to Reddit and then you find out that you're hated and that you get banned, or you get your post removed off of the subreddit, or mods reach out to you and tell you broke the rules. But what I can say is it's definitely worth a shot, because again, I've been front paged about 3 to 4 times, and I can tell you I was nervous every single time I posted because I put a lot of effort into the post, and it was just definitely a scary thing because it's just a highly personal thing to do, to post to Reddit. You don't ever want to post to Reddit something like, here's my game, check it out, it's only 15 bucks. People hate that stuff on Reddit. Instead, post something like, for 10 years I've wanted to make games, today I'm launching my game and it's a dream come true. That kind of content is personal and it works on Reddit. Also remember, a great way to have an effective Reddit post is just to have a beautiful 5-second animated GIF. The third hack for marketing your indie game is to not ask YouTubers to play your game, rather get them involved in your game. Now, I've posted an entire video about this. Nobody's really seen the video. It doesn't have that many views, so I figured I'd just say it right now. Get YouTubers involved. Well, how do you get them involved? Reach out to them, ask if they want to voice act in your game, or they want to be a character in your game, or they want to critique your game, or just ask their opinion about your game. The reason why is because YouTubers get hundreds of emails every day about play my game, play my game, play my game, play my game. They probably instantly just trash these emails, or they probably even have someone to sort through it so they don't have to deal with it. But instead, if you ask them if they want to be in your game, that email will likely be flagged by their editor, or just catch their attention if they're reading their emails, and they'll take a look and see if they want to be interested in your game. They'll take a look at your game, and even if they say no, you at least have their attention, and then you can ask them to actually play your game. Now, regarding your press list, I'll be honest, you should probably double your press list. Have 200 writers and then 200 YouTubers. And I know I just probably doubled your workload, but I know that that's really worked for me. And again, if you get 10 YouTubers to respond, that's amazing. Now, just be careful. Some YouTubers aren't really worth your time. This is going to sound offensive, and I'm sorry to those of you who have this amount of subscribers, but if you have anything less than 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, that influence isn't really going to help sell your game. So just be sure you're focusing on YouTubers with like 20,000 to 20 million subscribers. Anything more than 20 million, good luck trying to get them to play. But overall, just focus on YouTubers who actually have a certain amount of subscribers. The fourth indie game hack is do a synergistic stunt with somebody who is influential. Now, this was applied for my Kickstarter campaign, my most recent Kickstarter campaign for my game Once Upon a Coma. Instead of just launching the campaign, I actually spent a month reaching out to other Kickstarter campaigns that were successful, reaching out to their creators and asking them if they wanted to participate in a synergistic stunt. The stunt was simply, if you post my campaign to your campaign followers and let them know that they can get a free whatever, whether it's a free soundtrack or a free copy of my previous game, something free. See, this was a great idea because the campaign owners, they had an incentive to actually post my work because, hey, it's a free game for their audience. They were able to post my game in their updates on Kickstarter. And I had about 15 to 20, I believe, campaigns involved on launch day, and an incentive for their audience to actually pre-order a copy of my game. Now, I know this is Kickstarter, but you can certainly do something similar if you have a pre-order campaign of any kind. Pre-orders are a great way to gain traction for your game. Now, the fifth hack is actually going to be 3 non-hacks. And I know that's kind of weird, but I want to give you some hacks that aren't actually hacks and that most people think are hacks, when in reality it's just a waste of your time. Looking for tweets from people who you think have a ton of influence is probably not worth your time. An example of this is there was a specific influential individual that I just really wanted their tweet, right? I was obsessed with getting their tweet, so I engaged in this long conversation with them on Gmail and tried to tell them about who I was and gain sort of some kind of friendship, because in the end, this is gonna sound manipulative, and it kind of is, and I feel guilty about it. But in the end, I kind of just wanted to get a tweet from this person. Well, when I actually looked later at their Twitter account, sure, they had 100,000 followers, but when I actually looked at the engagement of their tweets, it was like 15 retweets and 300 likes. This isn't really that effective for your game. I mean, that might sound exciting to you, but in the end, it's not really going to drive sales. Now, if you can get hundreds of influencers on Twitter to retweet, that's awesome. Or if you can get Jacksepticeye to retweet your game, that's incredible. Go for it. But if people only have about 100,000 followers on Twitter, it's really not worth your time. Another non-hack that most people think is a hack is paying for YouTubers to play your games. This just doesn't seem like it's worth the effort or the money, in my opinion, especially if a YouTuber has less than 500,000 subscribers. Now, I've had YouTubers who have 14 million subscribers play my games. Now, it was great and it helped, but it wasn't worth what the price they're charging. Now, I didn't pay for this. I was fortunate enough to have YouTubers just willing to play the game because they believed in the project. But if I had paid the rate, and sometimes the rate can be $10,000 to $20,000, if I had paid that rate, would have been severely disappointed. It's just not worth that amount of money. Obviously, focus your attention on getting YouTubers to play your game, but I don't know if it's worth paying for it. The third non-hack has to do with your presence on other websites that really don't have a lot of influence, specifically your own website. I've seen studios spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort on making their website beautiful, gorgeous, tons of content, tons of screenshots, tons of videos. I don't know if it's worth it, guys. I don't know if it's worth spending your effort and your money and your time on making an epic website. Rather, focus your attention on something that doesn't seem as important, your press kit page. Now, the thing is your press kit page, the press doesn't matter what it looks like. They're just looking for content. Now, for example, if you send out emails to your press list, your 200 email press list, you need to make sure that you include a press kit link in these emails. And you want this link to be immediately visible on your email. And you want it to have everything that this individual needs to write an article about your game. That includes screenshots, that includes a description, that includes a bio, an email address, a trailer, a logo, everything they need to write a great article. The thing is that the press is going to write up maybe a quick brief of your game, some kind of outline really quick, and they might forget about it and they might not write anything. And if they come back to it and realize they have all these assets that they need to reach out and get from you, they're going to disregard it and they're not going to finish the piece. Make sure they have everything they need from that very first email you send them. Alright guys, I hope that this was helpful. If you thought it was helpful, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and I'll try and answer as best as I can. Also guys, please remember you can support me on Patreon. That's everything we need. Yeah, we're good. Thanks guys, I'll talk to you later, bye.